Well, hello there, Danielle Wickes.
Hi, Kate.
Hi. It's great to have you here. I still laugh. Miranda and I are laughing about that epic beginning. We
I
still
know.
laugh.
That's very cool.
It's like, it's the big reveal. Um, well, it's great to have you. We're going to do this project called Ice Princess, which I just love, which I think is apropos for everyone around the country. If you're watching us live, it is Wednesday, January 22nd, and it's cold
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. Like everywhere, coast to coast.
everywhere. It's saying, I saw that Janice said that it's the first time New Orleans has had snow in 100 years. I have photos. My gran was raised in just outside of New Orleans. And there's photos. I don't know where they are anymore. I don't know if I have them anymore or anything, but there were photos I remember of she and her sister and brother all dressed up for the snow. It was so exciting. So that must have been 1925, must have been 100 years ago, which is crazy to think about.
Wow. Oh my goodness.
So, but everyone's well, it looks like. It's good to have you. Everyone is excited that you are here today to share this project with us. It's so pretty.
Thank you.
Before we get to it, I wanted to share, you've added some extra colorways. So I'm going to put that, let me go over here and take this admin thing down. So what we did this morning was you sent us some really fun alternate colorways that you're going to be playing with today on the broadcast. So that's listed there. And if you go over to the Ice Princess page, you'll be able to, and I know some of you have already done it, you have already printed out this fantastic handout. And the handout's free at no charge. It's just right there on the project page. So it's really fantastic. You can see it there. So thank you so much for making that really fantastic handout for us.
Well, you're welcome. I'm glad you like it.
Yeah, really easy to follow, and it's going to be a fun project for sure. Let me put that there. All right. Well, I have your project in front of me, and you have your projects in front of you. So hang on. I'm going to take this comment down. I am going to add your project. Let me stop sharing that tab. Let me get your project up there. There it is. And then I have your necklace sitting right here in front of me as well. The one that's pictured in the photo. So talk to me a little bit about your inspiration for this, Danielle, and how you came up with this great piece that we're going to be working with today.
It was really fun to see something with the melons. The moment I saw these gorgeous beads, I immediately thought of ice crystals, and I wanted to do something that had that feeling. And the color that I originally gravitated towards was this copper wash. It has an almost like colorway to it, a little bit.
Yeah.
And so that's where it kind of felt like a princess bead. And so the weather and the day that I thought of the idea, it was also pretty cold here and had the first frost. And so
wow.
Like puddles were frozen and stuff. And so I was looking at that and thinking, oh yeah. And then the idea to use the drops, I just really love drops. They're one of my favorite beads. And you have so many colors in the shop that I just love them. And then I combined it with fire polish. I love fire polish. So that also has that sparkle, that aquamarine. I love a good Celsian finish. That's one of my favorite finishes.
Yeah, same. Love.
And so it just happened. I wanted it to have seed beads and a spiral. And then I thought, when I got to the part of like, what kind of chain do I want? I thought about lace. I wanted it to look like lace. And so that's what I did there.
Yeah, it's really a cool a cool design for sure. And I was reading in the description or Janice and I were talking about it. This could, and you've done some alternate colorways here. You did kind of this chain to go in the background of it, or the seed bead chain, but you could also just shorten this and use this shorter section as a bracelet as well, right?
Yeah, exactly. And that would be a really, really easy to do just right after, let's see, after step 4. You
Mm-hmm.
can just put a clasp on at that point.
Mm-hmm. It's really great. Well, I'm excited to hear how we make it. So why don't you just take it away? It has a bunch of different beads. I know that you're going to tell us what we're using and stuff. So I'm excited to see it. So let me highlight you here and let's take a look.
All right. And so there's a lot of different configurations you can create. You can make the full length design, which has anywhere from 10 to 11 repeats, which you'll have a few extras from a strand to do that. So that is what I did for the main designs, the one that is in the original colorway, and then this one, which I named Stardust. It's like an iced stardust one. And so, yeah, 10 to 11 repeats of melon beads will give you a really good necklace, and then you can just use the rest of your seed beads to make a chain to bring it to the desired length.
Nice. And these are the 10 millimeter melons, is that right?
Yep, the 10 millimeter faceted melons, and I've used every color you carry except for these two so far.
Mm-hmm. Love it. Love.
So this was, I believe, the silver wash, and then this one was a volcano.
Mm-hmm. So pretty. I love a volcano anything.
And then, of course, the original, which is the beautiful copper wash.
Yeah, so pretty.
And so those are the melons. And then you're going to want to have seed beads 8/0 and 11/0. And I went with a really pretty just frosted white,
Mm-hmm.
the matte silver line crystal. And then this one I discovered so many years ago. You sent me, I believe this is the tube you sent me.
Oh, funny.
It's the aqua lined, cream lined aqua.
Yes.
Isn't that pretty?
It's so good. And, some of the color lined, there's another one that's kind of kooky. It's like, oh, yeah, the apricot, Miranda's saying. And there's the other one that's the, it's like purple lined aqua or something. It's another really good one. But yeah, purple line cobalt. I just love a color lined.
Me too. That's one of my favorite beads, and this has a glow to it. And in the original, I also used this color and in one of the variations, and it looks so perfect in either one.
Yeah.
It just pulls out the beautiful colors in all of these melon beads.
Yeah, for sure.
And then, of course, you'll need some drops for just the little embellishment part. And then fire polish is what I used along with some 8/0 to space each of the melons to make room for this embellishment.
Nice. And that fire polish is 4 millimeter. Is that right?
Yep. Mm-hmm. And this one is the rainbow graphite, I believe, aqua rainbow graphite.
Okay, great.
And then I also used a black diamond. The black diamond is the one I used just in this sample right here.
Oh, so pretty. That has a really nice monochromatic feel to it. Very pretty. And someone was also saying that this would make a great earring. You can just make it two drops long or whatever. Add a little drop or something on the bottom. It would look great.
That would be so cool. Yeah, definitely. An earring is another spin that this could have.
For sure.
And you can embellish just one side if you want, like I did on this one, which really gives it a more just dainty look.
Right.
I use some hematite drops here. These ones are the Amber Picasso that are in the main color. And then also I was going to use those to demo today. And then for clasp, you can really kind of do what you want. I love this toggle. This is the classic, really pretty, a great size for the design. But you can also just do lobster claw and chain if that's something else that seems like it works. So all those ideas.
Yeah, so many. It's a great jumping off point for sure.
Yeah, and I love the name Black Diamond too. I see Tina says she loves that.
Oh yeah, no, definitely.
So cool.
So yeah, how do we get started? What's the
Jump in. So
what's
for the other things you're going to need, I did use Fireline.
mm-hmm.
And so a 6-pound smoke, or in the case of the lighter colors, you might prefer to use crystal. But I used smoke in this one, and it was really, really nice. So whichever color you'd like to use, I'm going to use, of course, the smoke today so we can see a little bit better.
Right. And you could use, I mean, certainly you could use Fireline, you could use KO, I mean, whatever seed bead thread you like. We're really into Fireline right now. I don't know, I've been using it quite a bit and I just love it.
Yeah, Fireline's been my kind of go-to as well. And that's why I've been gravitating towards it because it makes beginners have an easier time with their stitches for some reason. Maybe because
Yeah.
it's sticky and a little bit thicker tends to be, but it's not so thick that you can't get through your beads, which is
Right. Exactly.
yeah. And so let's see. To get started, you're going to want kind of make a decision about the length you'd like to do. So, for example, if you're going to be doing a necklace, you may like to have at least 90 inches, maybe as much as 120 inches.
Mm-hmm.
You won't have to wield that all at once, because what I've been doing is starting from working this part first. And so I leave a tail behind of about 30 to 40 inches.
Gotcha.
That can the chain on that side. And then for the other side, end of your working thread should have enough to do a chain. And it's also really easy to add threads. So I'll show a couple of ways you can do that too.
Okay, great.
Super simple. So with that in mind, I've already kind of pre-cut mine. I just went with 90 inches for the demo because I figure we'll make, so usually I did 11 here. The sample you have has 10, but what if we did 5? What do you think about that for like a...
Sure, just a little shorter. Sure, let's do it.
Yeah,
because
okay.
you can use, I mean, you can make this as long or as short as you like, right? If you got 2 strands of the melons, you could make it, that section longer, right?
Yeah, you could make the entire necklace like
Mhm.
this. You would probably just need to get 2 strands of melons to do an entire
Right.
whole necklace, or mix them up. Like, wouldn't it be cool to mix these?
Yeah. Oh, 100%.
I love that.
It would look great. And Janice is asking the needle, Danielle.
Oh, yes, thank you. It's a size 10 beading needle,
Okay.
but I feel like in this case, you could probably get away with lots of different size needles, a 10, 11, 12. Those are
Right.
all just great.
Whatever works. Right. Okay, great.
Yeah. And so leaving about 30 inches as a tail, I'm going to do a stopper bead with one of the 80 seed beads. So just going to bring that down and got my tail here. And so to do a stop bead, you just string that bead and then just go back through it so that the thread makes this loop. And we'll help you just get started, and we'll take that off later. It's just to get going. And then a fire polish. And again, these are the 4mm, another 80 seed bead. And then I'm going to need to free these melons. So here's our next melon bead. And so this is the first step, is just to string this configuration. So we'll go 80, fire polish, 80, and then the melon bead.
Right. And that's just a single strand, Danielle, right? Just double checking. Single strand.
Yep, just one single strand for now. We are going to be passing back through it. Many times. If you're doing the double, you'll be going through it about 5 times.
Got it.
It gets really strong.
It's pretty critical just to do that single strand on the initial pass.
Yeah, exactly. And you'll want a little bit of you want to be able to get your needle back through the beads on this first pass, so it kind of helps to not have to be too thick at this step. But later it will definitely strengthen up.
Gotcha.
But I do enjoy just seeing things strong. It's one of the things that I love about beading. And so there's 4. Let me grab one. I'm going to need 2 more of these. There's that one. And so you'll have a pretty long strand at first, but it definitely shortens up really quick. And there's 5.
Right,
And
because
so,
it pulls in as you stitch around.
yeah, exactly.
Mhm.
And so when you reach this end, go ahead and end with another set of 8/0 and fire polish in 8/0. So far we have that. And then just do that to your desired length, however many repeats you'd like it to have. You'll need to do, if you'd like to have an embellishment, of course, you'll need, of course, a minimum of 2 to get an embellishment because it's not embellished on the outside side. I mean, I suppose you could, but we'd have to play with that. So at least 2.
Okay.
3 looks really nice. If you're looking for something really simple, 3 does look pretty stunning. All right, and so that's the end of step 1. And then at step 2, you're going to need another 8/0 and skip the last 8/0 that we strung and head back through the fire polish. And you want to continue through the next 8/0 after that and go through the first melon or the last melon we strung. And when you tighten that, these should sit side by side almost like a little ladder or even like a little herringbone pop.
Right, gotcha.
And we'll use that later when we start making the chain. It's also a great place to turn.
Gotcha. And Cindy was commenting that you could pop up in size in the fire polish. You could do that, right? We used 4, but you could pop up to 6 or 8. Would that still work?
Possibly, yeah. Let me think about that for a second.
Okay.
So the only thing is you may have to adjust the counts of your drops.
Gotcha.
The drops are spaced nicely for this length here, which
For that
is,
size. Gotcha.
but you know what? If you skipped adding the 8/0 or just add more drops, you could have 3 drops instead of
Right.
2.
Instead of 2.
That's
And
one
then,
to play with.
sorry about that. I didn't mean to interrupt.
Oh no, that's okay.
The drops that you used in the volcano one, there was a question about that, Danielle. What color were those drops?
Those are hematite or gunmetal.
Ah,
I
very
think you call
nice.
it gunmetal. Is that
Mm-hmm.
right? There's only one that's that kind of like almost dark black color with a luster to it.
Gotcha. Oh, and Cindy was saying she meant a smaller melon rather than the 10 mil, which you could also do. I think you could play around with all the different bead sizes in here for sure.
Yeah, and in fact, the only count you would need to change if you replaced the melon would be the 11 we're going to do next with the 11/0.
Mm-hmm.
That's not perfectly for this bead, but that's a really easy thing to figure out on your own before you string. Bring your thread through whatever bead you want to use, string seed beads and go back through it until they meet in a smile at the hole of the bead.
Gotcha. Mm-hmm.
And that's the count you need, and any count should work.
Gotcha. Great.
And then, of course, this spacing here will still work even if these are a different size. Yeah, that's a great question. Actually,
Yeah.
that would be really cool because there's lots of really beautiful 8mm beads that would be.
Yeah,
just
for sure.
Yeah.
Sure.
And actually, I just realized I have the DP number for these dark colored ones. They are 451, DP 451.
Gotcha.
And so where we are currently is we're just, we're exiting from the melon bead there. And super easy to remember, but you just string 11, 11/0.
Oh, that is very easy to remember.
And so there's my 11. And so go back through that first melon, just going around and back through it. And when you do that, if you want to do a little shortcut or shorthand, you can continue through the next 3 beads, the 8/0 and the fire polish and 8/0, and even through the next melon if you can get through all that at once.
Mm-hmm.
But that's the goal, is just to get those beads to sit along the side like that.
Gotcha.
And I'm just going to repeat that to the end. There's 9 and 11. I can't count on lives for some reason.
Well, I get you. I'm always like trying to figure out, am I still in the frame? Am I doing this?
Yes.
Am I doing that?
Same here.
Yeah.
And so the goal is just to get a count that really does reach the hole on either side, because this next step you're going to be jumping to it.
Mm-hmm.
So if you're using a different bead, just going for that will be what works. There's 6, 7, 8, and there's 11. All right. So just going back through the beads, and then I just go ahead and sew through all the next ones.
Gotcha.
I want to try so many colors with this. Every time I make one, I'm like, ooh, this color or that color.
Yeah. Well, the glass beads really are quite compelling.
Yeah, they are. I love them.
Yeah.
And don't worry if they the loop that we're making now around this bead, if it moves around on you, don't worry about that. So it's going to get locked in when we do the drop addition.
Ah, gotcha.
So there's 11, and that's my last one.
Okay.
And so go ahead and go through that melon bead, and then when you get to the other side of the melon, you can continue through the 8-0, the fire polish and the 8-0. You have a stop bead over here, and you can loosen it now. I think it's probably easier to loosen it now.
Mm-hmm.
And so that's what I've been doing, but I don't know if leaving it there would hurt anything or not. It might be okay. But what you'll want to do is pick up another 8-0. So we've gone through 8-0, fire polish 8-0, and then picking up another one. And right now we're at the end of, we're at the beginning of step 3 now.
Okay.
And so picking up this fire polish, this 8-0 seed bead, and we're going to go through the fire polish. We're going to skip the last one. And this is just my tail thread hanging out here. We're just going to ignore it for the moment.
Right, because you're going to use that later.
Yeah, it could become our chain. And so I'm going to go through the fire polish, the 8-0 seed bead, and the melon. Just pull that through, and we'll get another one of those turns. Sometimes I have to help it. But here we can use our tail thread and our working thread and just tighten it as a way to help these little beads sit side by side.
Mm-hmm.
So we've got that handy place to turn and a nice jumping off point for that chain. All right, so where we are now, we're exiting from the 10 millimeter melon bead here. And we're just going to go right into the first 11-0 that's exiting right from the side there. We're heading down through that 11-0, just the first one.
Mm-hmm.
And now it's time for these awesome drop colors. You have some really cool drop colors. There's one that looks like purple inside.
Oh, yeah, it's also like a color lined kind of a deal. Yeah, the drops are cool. I've been finding myself using those melon drops, not the melon drops, sorry, the Miyuki drops a little bit more, because they just seem to go everywhere.
They do. They're really beautiful. They're so beautiful.
Yeah. And they have that little tapered end so you can fit them right where you need to fit them.
And I love how they'll form a circle if you string them with a
right,
CB.
Exactly. Yeah, for sure.
And so for this design, they're going to make just kind of a little bitty arc. And so from where you're exiting here, we're heading out of that 11-0. We're going to skip the 8-0, the fire polish and the 8-0, and head up towards the hole of the melon through that 11-0, the one that's right next to it. So it seems a little weird at first, but it's basically making a U shape like that.
Mm.
And it just looks really cool. It kind of looks a little bit like there's a really signature macrame that that you guys have in a lot of your macrame projects. It has the like drops in between a larger bead.
Oh, right.
To me, that same kind of like glowing and with this
Right.
little,
That kind of it's our poetry project, I think, or one
yeah,
of them. One of the macramees.
it's so cool. And so that right there is just the thing we're going to keep doing here to the end. So I'm going to go through the melon, of course, and then head down through the next 11-0. I think it'd be fun to try other beads in this design.
Oh, for sure.
Even, drops are great, but other beads would work too, I think.
Mm-hmm. You could even use like the Miyuki spacer, because the spacer might, kind of stand on its side a little bit and be kind of dimensional.
Oh, yeah.
Just a thought. I don't know. I'm also using a lot of Miyuki spacers right now, which I'm kind of really into. So I don't know.
I need to
All
try
these beads are on my mind.
I'm trying to think if I've tried them yet. I don't know if I have. Might be a new to me
Oh
bead.
yeah, I love the Miyuki spacer. They're great also to just string with, right?
Yeah, any kind of like unique bead for stringing.
Mm-hmm. And it's kind of like a little metal hishi, except it's glass. I really like them.
I'm definitely going to check those out. That could work in here too, because
Yeah,
all of
it
those
could.
little beads that when you kind of curve them, one sits a little higher than the other. That would work here.
Mm-hmm.
That would be cool. Oh yeah, and I made one little tiny mistake over here. I'm going to just back out of that bead. I made a mistake. I did not go through the 11-0 on that side.
Okay.
I only just now spotted it. I think I just missed it. Let's make sure I got it on those others. You'll know because it'll look a little bit off center when you
Right.
string the if you miss one. There we go. Got it.
And since this is such an easy stitch, it's pretty easy to correct.
Yeah, exactly. I just head back through and there we go. So that's the entirety of step 3 with the exception of the turn that's shown at the end of that step. And so at this step, if you wanted to not have two sides to your embellishment, you can skip ahead in the instructions.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to show both sides, but let me bring the little handout over here really quick. So we finished. Oh, sorry. That was the end of step 2. Forgive me.
Gotcha.
Okay. Starting step 3 here. And so to start the other side of the embellishment. But if you wanted to, at the end of this step, you can skip to step 5. If you just wanted to have
Right, that one side or whatever. Yeah.
Sorry for having the steps wrong. I was looking right at it and I said the wrong number.
Well, I do that all the time.
Oh, right. And so to embellish the other side, we'll just make a turn here. So we'll head through all those beads there at the end. And then making a turn using those 8/0s. Head back through that fire polish bead. And then I'm going to continue through the 8/0 bead and the melon bead. Oops, did I miss one there? Or I think I just hugged it. There we go. Oh, no, I went the wrong direction through that bead. Sorry about that. There we go.
All right.
Got it. I just had to take my needle off. I always try to back out of the even though I believe
I know.
never works. Still I try every time.
I know. I get the same. I'm like, I'm just gonna back it out, and then inevitably I have to. But it's
Yep.
easier to back out with Fireline because it's less likely
Oh
to.
my goodness. It's so much easier. Yeah, exactly. Yet another
But
reason to
still,
love Underline.
yeah.
There we go. So I'm back where I started. I just needed to fix that. I missed the 8-0 here when I thought I went through it when I made my turn, but I did not. So now what you should have is those two sitting side by side, and I just use them to go through turn, come through those beads, and now I'm over on the other side of our melon here. And you guessed it, we're going to do 11, 11, 0. So there's those. And going around the melon again and back through it.
And someone was asking, or Janice was asking, is there a name for this stitch, or are you're basically just stitching back and forth through the piece, right? There's no real.
Yeah, if there is a name, I'm not sure what to call it. I mean, it's kind of string, but maybe it's square stitch. I don't know.
Yeah, it's hard to identify it really, especially if you're using fire polish and stuff.
Yeah, it's not herringbone, although we just did a little herringbone pop there at the
Yeah,
end.
it has that. And then you can find Pat was asking, Pat, we just have a materials list up here, so you can go right to beadshop.com. It's right on the homepage. And then you can see all the materials that you need. If you have some, you can use yours. If you need everything, you can pop those in your cart. And right there on the handout page, let me see if I can share that while you're stitching, Danielle. You can find let me do this. Let me share my screen. Let me do this. And so if we're here while Danielle is stitching, if we're here on the home page, and you go over to, now I need to find where. I have too many tabs open. Hold, please. There it is. You go right now. It's on the homepage if you're watching us live on the 22nd. And you can see here everything is listed. And then here under the project info, there's just kind of links to the generic, non-specific ones. And then if you just click that handout button, the handout will come up and you can download it. You can see here there's some notes and stuff on Danielle's project there. So it's all right there on the projects page. And you can see we have over 900, if you can believe that, projects on our website. So let me get that back on there. There we go.
That's neat. That's so cool. I love how you can do that.
Well, it takes me a second, but I got it.
It uses quite a few 11. I'm just going to replenish my little pile here. Oops. And here's my last set of 11.
Nice.
Melon. Looping around the melon. The melons are cool because they kind of, I feel like they make the beads stay in the little ridges, I guess. Is it called ridges? I'm not sure.
Yeah, sure. The little, I'd call them ridges or ribs or I don't know.
I just feel like they were destined to have beads going around them.
Yeah.
And so after getting to that melon, I'm just going to continue through the other beads here after it. And from here, I'll use this side, the 8-0s on this side, to make another turn. So made a turn through those, heading through the 4mm fire polish, the 80 seed bead, and I'm going to continue through the melon, which brings me back over here. And that's just my tail thread. Let me get that out of the way. And here we go. And so from this side, we're going to just repeat again by going through that first. Well, thank you, Shelly. Through the first 11-0. And we'll add a drop and an 11-0, and then one more of those. Chasing it around. Drops. Got it. And then we'll skip over these beads here and just head in the other direction. So heading up now toward the melon through the 11-0. Oh, thank you, Cindy. Yeah, this is a really fun one. I quite enjoyed making these. It's one of those ones where I want to make every color.
Yeah, well, we really appreciate you coming up with such innovative designs with our beads. We love it. We love having you here doing this. So we really appreciate you.
Your beads make it easy.
Well, thank you. We try. We've ordered some new really great check glass beads that are on their way. So you folks will be seeing some new fun stuff coming. Always a challenge. You know, people were asking, Danielle, are you going to Tucson this year?
Not this year, but I'm definitely planning for the next year.
Yeah, we are too. I'm taking this year off. There's just so much to be done. And, you know, still with our move to our headquarters here in Fresno, there's just so much. But we hope to have some Tucson treats and things for you folks. But yeah, we'll set our calendars for 2026.
I feel like we can all still go virtually.
Yeah, exactly. And I'm going to have some fun, speaking of virtually, some fun virtual experiences for everybody with Tucson. I'm hopeful. We're working that out as we speak. So we're getting there.
There's so much great color inspiration from Tucson.
There sure is, I'll tell you.
But next year, I'm going to shop. I'm going to shop like crazy.
It is. It's the best shopping for sure. And it's just, I don't know. I miss seeing like my friends and, you know, there's some new products that I wish I could see. But, you know, to be completely honest, I would be more like out of my head, not out of my head. What do I want to say? Well, out of my head. I guess I would be like thinking about all the stuff that I had to deal with at home as well. So I just think it's wise for like my mental health just to take that little bit of a break. But I'll be able to do some things virtually, which is going to be great.
We are going to go to the gem fair though, right?
Yeah, we are going to go to the Fresno Gem Fair, talk to the Fresno Rock Hounds.
Oh, yes.
That's awesome.
Talk about geodes, Miranda, right?
I'm going to be so thrilled.
Yeah, we're going to have fun.
There's so many beautiful places we can shop. Just, you know, well, I'm going to shop with you when you guys curate. So.
Well,
because you'll find all the best stuff. So definitely.
Well, we're really, you know what? We are really lucky in that over 40 years we've been in business. We've had some really great vendors, and we really try and be vendor loyal, though we do look for new vendors, and we are grateful to be able to meet and find new vendors. But, you know, we are really a vendor loyal company, and it's made all the difference with us over the years, you know, through feast and famine.
Yeah, exactly. And just the eye for color and combinations and cool, inspiring projects.
Well, thank you so much.
And so this right here is pretty much all of the center component for the design.
It looks great. So you've got the 3 ribs running down, Danielle, or did we have the 2? Sorry, I lost track.
Oh, so we just got to the end of
the second. Okay, so we've got the second circle, step 4. Right, gotcha.
Yeah.
So we just
Sorry,
have
I was mixing up the steps.
Gotcha. Sorry, I was mixing myself up. Apologies for that, but looks great.
Me too. Me too. I was when we were back here. I still thought I thought we were here, but we weren't here yet. We were
Right,
finishing this
right.
one.
And you could stop, as you were saying, you could stop right there at that previous step and just have the embellishment on the bottom.
Yeah, and you'll get this nice princess look. It really does look like one of those necklaces for, I don't know, it almost has a wedding vibe, I feel like.
Yeah, it does, kind of. Now, let me ask you this while you have that there.
Mhm.
The 10 millimeter melon that you used, the check glass has a fairly generous hole. There were some other questions a little bit further back about using glass pearls or different things. Essentially, you just kind of have to test the hole, right? Because you do have to pass through the bead hole a couple of times.
Yeah, but I feel like even working with 6-pound Fireline, maybe switch to a size 12 beading needle.
Mm-hmm.
Even like a pearl, you could at least do this side.
Right.
Because that's
Right.
3
Single.
passes.
Right.
If you did 4 passes, 5 passes, you may start to get tight, but
Mm-hmm.
yeah.
Now, riddle me this. You could also, let's say that those are 10 millimeter melons. We have, there are 8 millimeter melons out there. I think we carry the 6 millimeter. You could also, perhaps, while you're doing this, graduate your center stone.
Yes. Yeah, you could. And it would work because the only spacing dependent for the drops is the spacing of these 8-0 fire polish 8-0.
Right.
And so that is just spaced out here by the drops and the 11-0 in between each of those drops. And it
Right.
just pops right out of the 11-0 that's right next to the hole of the bead. So whatever bead you're using, just changing this count.
The count to the 11 knots. Right. Right.
Yeah. So you could go from like a 6 millimeter to an 8 to a 10.
Mm-hmm.
Would completely work.
Yeah. Terry's saying that she has a surplus of 8 or 12 millimeter glass pearls. So you could definitely do that. Use larger ones in the center. So what color? So those are the volcano melons. What you have in the shot now, the ones below are the volcano.
Yeah, these are volcano, and these were the ones that they had silver wash in the name.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and Drea put them all on the homepage. So if you go to the homepage right now, let me share that page one more time. Bear with me here just a second, my friends, and then we'll get to the side the side connections. So let me present my screen. Let me make sure I'm presenting the right screen. There we go. Doesn't I try when I do that, I try and like close all my other windows so I don't accidentally. I'm all
one.
Let me show you that. That's sensitive information. So here's Danielle's Ice Princess alternate color ideas. Can you see this? And you can see there's the Crystal AB Silver Wash, friends, which are right there. The Black Diamond. If we scroll down, you can see the Faceted Melons Crystal Volcano AB with metallic blue wash. And then that one that you showed right at the beginning, the Faceted Pumpkin, the copper, pumpkin copper and fuchsia wash, which I'm super into. So yeah, they're all great. There's that root beer lined light topaz, ADOT. It's really great.
Look how cool that looks together. Oh my gosh.
Yeah, so good. So good. Okay. Sorry about that. I just wanted to just to make sure everybody saw where that was.
No, I'm enjoying it. I love to play with color. So I'm currently on a quest for a colorway for this one.
Oh, I love that. Blue is one of the colors that I really feel are a great accent with the Mocha Mousse color of the year.
That'd be cool.
It's really great. Yeah, I love all these 10 millimeter melons they have the faceted melons, because not only are they melons, but they have that facet. It really has a vintage vibe to me for sure. Yeah, those colorways look great together too.
And I love to just scroll your 4 millimeter fire polish and see what colors could go because there's so much possibility. I just love comparing. Like, it's really like the next best thing to getting out a box of crayons, really.
Yeah, no, I agree. And one of the things, we've been playing around with like the functionality of the website and sorting and stuff. And today, one of the things, Janice and I were meeting early, and it was kind of a game changer. And I just want to let everybody know now that you're doing this, because I do like to scroll around. You can shop by color, do all of that. There was one setting, especially with check glass. Check glass colors go in, they go out. We get promises from vendors. Oh, we promise that's coming back in. And then they say, oh, well, it's not actually going to be up for 6 months. So I know it's super frustrating when people are on the website. They're like, why does everything say sold out? Well, not everything is sold out. It's just that the order, some things are sold out, some things aren't. There was a setting in our search that I just clicked the box, and now everything that's sold out is at the bottom of the category. So if you're jumping on and you're shopping, everything that's in stock should be at the top, and everything that's sold out should be at the bottom. Jen is saying 6 months. She's all 1 to 2 years. So you'll still see some things that are sold out, but I think it'll be a lot better of a shopping experience for you folks. Because if you do want to see, oh, what are they out of and what may or may not ever come back in, you can scroll down to the end, see what's sold out, and put yourself on the notification list. So if even in 6 months we get it back in stock, you'll get that notification. And Terry, good. I'm glad. I'm sorry. It was a real source of frustration for all of us because we would have to like manually sort and everything. It was kind of a POA, I guess. PIA. That's what it is. PIA or what the initials for that. So they'll still be up. They're just going to be, and you may see a few sprinkled in there. I'm trying to fine tune the settings, but mostly everything that's sold out is at the bottom of the category. So anyway, I just wanted to share that little tip because I was super excited about it.
That's really handy, actually.
Yes. So back to your demo, but I'm sorry to interrupt it, Danielle, but it came up in my mind and I'm like, I'm taking this moment to share it.
No, I love that. I have a knack for selecting sold out items. That's just kind of my thing. If I gravitate right to that one.
Same. And especially when we're shopping for beads too, we're all, oh my gosh, they're sold out. And then the vendors all, yeah, they'll be back someday.
Yep. And so we're pretty much down to the easy part, the really easy part. And so if you left that tail, you'll have a tail on one side to work with, and you'll have your working thread on the other side. And depending on the length that you were going for, you might have a pretty good length left. I feel like I've still got at least 25 inches on my working side. And I started with about 90 inches of beading thread. On this one, I did start with probably closer to 110 or so. And so on this one, but keep in mind, the more repeats you do of the melons, the shorter of a chain you need. Versus if you do only a few, you're going to need a longer chain. So it's either way, it's going to take about, the same amount of length. Oops, sorry about that. The camera there. Okay, and so it doesn't actually matter which side. The instructions for the chain are the same on both the working side and the tail side. The only difference is you may have, depending on how you pulled off your stopper bead, you may find that your tail is exiting from your fire polish. You'll just want to bring it up through one of those 8/0 beads.
Gotcha.
And of course, pop a needle on that side. And so to get started with your chain, it's really easy. You're just going to string 3 11/0 and 1 8/0 to your desired length. And don't worry about if it's even or odd count as far as the number of 8/0s and repeats you pick up, because the connection for the chain will work either way, and I'll show you an example of each type.
Gotcha.
I'm going to go ahead and string.
So you're just stringing in pattern right now.
Yep, just 3 and then an 8/0.
Gotcha. And Kathy, I love this idea. I'm going to write this down on my idea pad. Kathy's asking, I would love to see a tab for recent restocks. maybe we could do that. I'm going to write this down. Maybe I love these ideas. We need to have like a focus group or something, I think sometimes. Maybe we could do a grouping of recent restocks on the home page. It might need to, I don't need to troubleshoot this with you folks while we're doing this. I'm just going to write down the idea. Thanks for that. We always appreciate it. And Karen is asking, how many melons would you need for a whole melon strand with little to no chain?
So let me give you some measurements, actually.
Okay.
This one used 11. It's the longest one I've made so far. And I believe these have 12, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8.
So.
Yeah, so 12. So I had one of these left after I made this one. And that will give you, before you start the chain, it's 8 1/4.
Gotcha.
From here to there. So it's 8 1/4. So 8 1/4 plus 8 1/4. If you did 22, but you could actually do 24 if you got one of these. So yeah, I mean, even like you could get to 18 inches, I would say, safely. And then when you put on your clasp, that could bring it up to even 21, your clasp. But yeah. And always the possibility of adding a little tiny bit of jump rings too.
Yeah. And what I like is also at the very end of that, you could just taper down a few beads and stuff.
Yeah. Sorry.
And Betty, I see your comment, and I want to address it. Thank you for that. Let's let Danielle get through this, but it's an important point that I want to share with you here.
Oh yeah. Do you want me to pause for a sec?
But you're going to keep stringing, right? So keep stringing, and I'll take Betty's question. So Betty's saying, she goes, what I hate is placing an order, and then when it's packaged and sent off, that item is no longer available. That happened on my last few orders. You know what? I really want to apologize for that. With the move from our distribution center to here in Fresno, there's been all of the inventory had to be turned over and changed over. Previously, we used to have, and this is just fully transparent, I want to tell you how this business kind of works. We had a cushion, right? So let's say that we got 10 items in, we'd actually put 8 in, and we'd have a cushion of 2, just in case something went awry, right? Like something got pulled incorrectly or whatever it was. So when we moved over, we had to take out all of that cushion. So we had an accurate count of what came to us from our fulfillment center. So I take that comment, my friend, very, very seriously. Janice and I do. So what we're going to start doing is putting that cushion back in, so that we're still finding those mistakes. So it's going to take a little while to right the bus or right the ship or send the ship back north or whatever little, allegory you want to say there. But it will happen. And I super appreciate that feedback. We hate telling you that there's something that's out. And when I can, we try and contact you for a substitute and things like that. But I promise you that issue will be righted. So, but that's what the behind the scene issue is from that, is that our cushion that we were having just wasn't the same as it was. So, and there are automated ways to do it and things like that. We're bead dancing as fast as we can. So, we really appreciate your your patience with that. And if it's something where you're like, you know what, I need your help matching, or I need your help trying to figure out what's going on with it, just let us know. Shoot us an email and we'll be happy to help you out with it. Okay. So thanks, Danielle. Sorry, didn't mean to interrupt your flow.
I totally understand I don't have a move to even cite, and I still have that happen. So
Right. So
it's hard. It's really
yeah,
hard.
it's inventory is always a constant battle for sure, but we're getting there slowly but surely, one step at a time.
For sure, yeah. And best customer service in the business, if I might humbly add.
Well, thank you. We try for sure.
And so let's see where what I've done so far is I just strung a chain and to the length. And how did I figure out the length? So first I measured my center, and that center was 4 inches. So and that whatever that is for you, if you have a predetermined length you like, then take that 4 and whatever you need on for the rest of that length, divide that by 2 and add that length on each side. So I went with 7 on each side. Sorry, I'm off camera there. Apologies. I took that length to 7 inches.
Gotcha.
Roughly. And that'll give me the length that I'm going for, because I'll do the same thing on this side. I'll add 7 inches of length over there.
And does that shrink up at all, Danielle?
Not really. No, it actually stays pretty good. It's
Okay.
In fact, the ruffle, the way we add the ruffle on the back, it almost kind of ensures that space won't get smaller.
Gotcha.
And it looks cool. So it's like doubly bonused.
Right.
And then the other really awesome thing to note is you're not going to have to sew up and down through the chain to reinforce your clasp. Because that's always one of my dreams, is not to have to do that.
Right. I inevitably skip a bead.
Oh, me too.
And have thread showing, which is always so fun.
Yeah, I have that happen too. And so this is another way where you're not having to weave back down through. And it's just so nice that I think it speeds it up a lot as well. And so when you get to your last 8-0 add, you're going to want to string what is essentially a loop of 6 seed beads. And that loop, if you're using a jump ring, can just be a loop for now. If you're adding a clasp that you want to go direct to, like on the original, I went direct to my clasp. So I did 3 11-0 and then strung the toggle ring or toggle bar, and then 3 more of those 11-0, and then just bring that down. Then add 1 more 8-0 seed bead. And what you'll want to do is the last 8-0 you strung before we did this part here, go back through that 8-0, heading this way, heading towards your clasp. Well, I'll hold up the illustration in a second because I know this is a little weird. But essentially what you're doing is you're making this little circle. And we're going to reinforce that. So it saves you having to, this chain will have 2 strands running through it. And so an opportunity to make sure that there's 2 up here as well. And they kind of pull everything pretty tightly together as a bonus. So I've gone through that 1 time. You can go through it 3 times if you want. At least 2 or 3 is good.
But that's a clever way, because then you don't have to go all the way back down and all the way back up, because you're already doing, that's a double strand that you're, it's going to be a double when you, in certain parts, when you go back down, it's going to be, what do I want to say?
No, you're exactly right.
Yeah.
It's going to be kind of self-reinforcing just by way of heading back down.
Yeah.
And so you'll have 2 strands of, in my case, I'm using a 6-pound fire line. So that's 12 pounds of strength if that addition works. And the pull strength, I think. I don't know.
Right.
But so yeah, so there's a little loop there. And I can just tighten it up by putting my fingernail below these 2 8-0 beads. And then just give that a tug. And it makes a nice, tight little loop for you. And so from here, we're just going to do the pretty part of the chain. So stringing 3 11 O's. And your thread will be exiting from that last 8-0 we were going through. We're just going to go through the next 8-0. And just that bead.
Very nice.
So it's nice and strong.
Mm-hmm.
And here there's a pattern. Picking up 1 11-0, 1 8-0, and then 3 11-0, 1 8-0, and one more 11-0. And that's the same pickup down the whole chain.
Mm-hmm.
And all you have to do is skip the next 8-0 seed bead and go through the one after it. And you'll know if you missed it because the chain won't connect. And so there's no chance of missing any beads, no matter what.
Right. Because if it's not through, it won't connect.
Yeah, so it's kind of just error correcting.
Mm-hmm.
Oops. Almost got it. And it looks like lace. It kind of looks like a ruffle.
It does. Very pretty.
And so I went for a full length one, but it does go pretty quickly. And of course, for a bracelet, you wouldn't need to do any of this stuff. You could just make a little loop of 6 seed beads right out of there.
Mm-hmm. Right, and that would be it. Now, this piece that you're doing there that kind of has those little loops and stuff, how many beads are in between that 8-0? So you're putting on 3, then an 8, then 3. Is that right?
Yeah, the chain on the way up was just repeating 3 and then just 1, 3, 1. And then on the way back, we're doing a little...
Gotcha. So you could, if you wanted a little dimension or incorporate those drops a little bit more, instead of when you're coming back through, instead of the 8-0, could we add the drop?
Oh my gosh, yeah. And that would be so cool.
I don't know. I always just like to, there's me pushing the boundaries. Your design is gorgeous. And I'm like, what else can we do with it?
No, that's exactly what I was hoping would happen. That's what I dream about, is like, hey, this is going to create all these other ideas, right?
Yeah, exactly.
I think it's super cool. Like, just one idea leads to another idea to another. That's why I love beading.
Yeah. And Cindy, just as the confirmation, you'll see it in the handout, but what Danielle did was she cut initially about, what did you say, 100 inches?
Yeah, I put in the handout 90 to 120, and that's just depending on the length you'd like your final version to be.
So as you string the center, you're going to leave some thread for the other side. So it's actually all strung in one. Nothing's connected.
Correct. Yeah. And you don't even have to, you may not have to even add thread.
Mm-hmm.
It just depends on the length that you'd like to make your chain and how many repeats and things like that.
Right.
But if you wanted to add thread, it's pretty easy. You can just go and loop through and go through some circles through each of the beads that we made, or you could use the fireline mushroom thing.
Mm-hmm.
And just make it through, because we're using Miyuki seed beads. They're really nice. They're easy to get through, so I feel like you could still get it through, especially if you start that really close to where you're ending your thread and not having to pull it through for very long.
Gotcha.
Now that trick doesn't work on every design, but in a design like this where everything's Miyuki or check glass, I would feel confident trying it with this one. Wouldn't do with gems. I don't know. I would be afraid to. Gems is always knots get stuck in gems.
Right.
Unless it's a standard drill. A standard drill will be okay, right?
Yeah, I mean, gemstone drilling, that's like a complete show.
That's where
Right.
I get a little underconfident with that because I'm like, I need to try that first.
Yeah, but testing out the holes in your pieces, I think, is always the way to go, especially if you're doing multiple passes through. But the larger gemstones tend to have larger holes.
They do, yeah. And look at that, all done. It doesn't take too long.
Wow, so fast and easy. Love.
And so when you get back to the base of your chain, you may have one of two things happen depending on your counts. And it's easier just to not worry about the counts, I feel like.
Mm-hmm.
If you get to here and you don't have space for another repeat, meaning you're going to need to have an 8-0 to jump over, right?
Mm-hmm.
Find that you reach it and you're just left with 3. Super easy. Just string 3 more 11-0 and head through the 8-0.
Gotcha.
And that's where it's going to join. And so then we'll do some weaving in, which is also how you add thread. But if for some reason you got there and you found that you had 2 left over, here's what it would look like if you went and joined just directly with another one of those. So there's one that ended where you're skipping an 8-0 and joining. Because for some reason, my counts ended up like that on this one. And I felt like that just fine. So either version, either meeting with 3 like that, or meeting back with a jump.
Very good. Oh yeah, that looks very nice too. That little extra bead there at the end.
Yeah, and so I was going to go through all the trouble of specifying even versus odd count, but I thought that's challenging, and no one wants to sit there and count their repeats. You know, it's easier just to tape measure it as you go.
Right.
So it's so much better just to not worry about it and just have whichever version you end up working out with. It's going to look great.
Right.
In fact, I like that one more sometimes. I don't know. I can't decide. This was the original.
Mm-hmm.
And the original sample looks like that.
Right.
That looks great. So
well, I think that it is a really adaptable, as you say, a really adaptable design, or I was going to say technique, really is what it is. Really fun.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, I had a really fun time with this one.
Everybody is loving it. Pat saying the chain looks so complicated, but it's not.
Thanks.
They love it. Yeah. Beady Genius. Yes. Danielle makes it look so easy. She does, doesn't it? Yeah, you can certainly do an earring variation. Really great. Really great. It does have a very vintage and antique feel to it. So friends, just remember, with your, Danielle created this really great handout. I want to show you folks one more time, just in case. Hang on, is it here? Hang on. I don't know why it takes me so long to figure this out, but it does. There we go. So here on the home page, if you go right to Danielle's Ice Princess project, you can scroll down. You can see some notes on it down here, and the under the photo right there is the coveted handout. It's right there for you. Okay. So you'll be able to see it. Let me take this out. Yes, people are saying, Danielle, they're going to add this to their Danielle Wickes collection.
Oh, that is so cool.
It's really great. It's really great. Well, thank you so much, Danielle, for this fantastic project. I'm totally enamored with how encrusted and beautiful this piece looks. It's really great. So thank you so much. I know that you and Janice have some other things up your sleeves to play, to bring us. So we're super excited about that. I also wanted to thank you, those 11 or the 10 the Mosaic project. I
Oh,
thought it was sitting right here, but I don't know. My table is such a mess now. I have no idea where it is. But your fantastic mosaic project with the 10-aughts, we added a whole bunch of fantastic 10-aughts for
cool.
you. So you folks can go look at that under Danielle's projects as well. Just to let you folks know, on Friday, Janice is going to be on with me. We're going to talk color story. And the color story is like an introduction. I know a lot of you had an introduction to wrap bracelets and stuff using Janice's color story. So we're going to do a deep dive into that color story wrap bracelet, talk a little bit about the origins of it, talk a little bit about choosing color and stuff. So Janice is going to be on with me on Friday. And then on Saturday, I'm going to do something, Danielle, that's called the Frida Fiesta.
Oh, really?
I'm
Oh
going to
my
do a live show where I share some Frida Kahlo inspired things. I've got a little Frida Kahlo inspired project that I'm going to share with you. I know I'm just teasing you with it, but it's going to be super fun. I'm going to talk about some fiber and stuff. So it's going to be a Saturday stitch in, but it's going to be a Frida Fiesta. So stay tuned, my friends, to your newsletters for that.
Oh my gosh, that's going to be awesome.
It's going to be fun. So
Was that a gemstone skull that you're holding
no,
up?
it was a little, I'll show you. I'll add it to
You must
my,
see it.
here it is. So it's a little, let me see if I can get that.
Yeah.
It's a piece that I've been making forever and ever. I did this with a necklace and I made these little charms. So I've got some little black and white skulls for you. I tried to do this around like Dia de los Muertos, but it didn't happen. So we're just going to do something early for Day of the Dead this year. And I've promised the little roses and stuff, and I'm going to show you how I stitch the little crowns and everything. So it's going to be really fun. It's great to just make a pendant, or you can make a super embellished necklace. So that's what I was working on. While you were stitching, I was also stitching. So yes, so we'll see how that goes. And I think these are magnesite, Kim. I've got them in the white and I've got them in black. So we're going to play around with it. I'm not sure, Cindy, if I've ignited this whole thing. I'm not sure that it's going to be a kit, but I'm going to have everything together. So it'll be easy. You can get skulls, you can get flowers, you can get seed beads. And I'm also using some of I'm showing it under the camera like you can see it, but you'll see more about that on Saturday. So in my Frida Fiesta. And I've got more things to share with you too, including a quilt that I've made, some color inspiration. So it's just going to be a big random Saturday broadcast, but the usual time at 10:30 a.m. Pacific.
Oh, perfect. I'm going to tune in for that for sure.
Oh, it'll be fun. Well, everyone is saying, Cindy, that they had such a great time seeing you. Cindy said, great time seeing you, Danielle. It's going to be great. So it's going to be fun times. And Trudy, no third Thursday. That's what the stitch-ins are going to kind of take the place of the third Thursday. You're never going to know quite what I'm going to make. So we've got some other, this would make a fantastic earring and stuff as well. So yes. So anyways, thank you again, my friend. We super appreciate you. We'll be back on Friday. I'll be back on Friday for a deep dive with Janice into the color study wrap bracelets. And then mark your calendars for Saturday, 10 a.m. Pacific time. I've got a special little studio drop that's dropping that day as well. So it's going to be fun. And yes, I do crochet, Cherie. I'm working on some crochet. So I'm going to show you, it's going to just be a free form, just crazy. I don't know. It's going to be fun. So
I can't wait.
All right.
Friday and Saturday both sound so awesome.
Yeah, we'll see what happens. Well, thank you again. We really, as Valerie says, we super appreciate you, Danielle, all of you that are watching. And my friends, don't forget, you can find us on all of the socials. I'll cover me so you can all look at Danielle. You can find us on our Facebook, Pinterest, Instagram, hit that like, subscribe, and notification button so you'll always know when Beadshop goes live. And if you have any questions, don't forget to shoot us an email over at info@beadshop.com. So thank you again, my friend. We'll see you soon for another live show. And thanks again, all of you, for watching. You can find all of this great product right over on beadshop.com. Thanks so much. See you all soon.